Lastly, how will you ensure the concerns of second homeowners here, that they're considered in local governance, including taxation and including community service?
So this, for me, this comes down to making sure we're well funded as a county and we have all of our basic services covered. And that, for me, in terms of the mountain communities, that's things like road maintenance, snow plowing, making sure the county is here to deliver all of the services that it's supposed to. And it should not matter whether it's your primary house or a secondary house. If it's on a road maintained by the county, they should be fixing that road, they should be plowing it in the winter and making sure all those services are delivered.
Right.
And that should be the case whether you're a voter in San Bernardino County or not. Everyone is entitled to the same services here. If you're a taxpayer, you should get what you pay for.
That's right.
And I have strong feelings about that. As a mountain taxpayer, we pay, for instance, for trash pickup, and we don't even get it because we live up an access road.
Oh.
So I have a lot of sympathy for people in that position.
Yeah.
We should be getting what we're paying for.
Yeah.
First and foremost, thank you very much for coming up here to talk to us. We feel a little abandoned up here on the hill sometimes, so it's great to have somebody come up and hear our concerns and answer our questions in person. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into one. This is actually from someone who owns the property. She lives up here in Moonridge, but she couldn't make it tonight.
Okay.
And I am curious on your take of this on the survey. And given that the certain areas rely on this income and industry, I am curious on how you support those areas while serving the community, the county as a whole.
Okay. I have a lot to say about the survey, and if anyone hasn't watched it yet, I actually have a 10-minute video where I review in detail my takeaways from the county survey. But the punchline is that ultimately the county paid one set of consultants to produce a report. That report didn't have all the available data really necessary to form a proper conclusion. A part of that is because the sheriff's department was hacked. We didn't have evictions data available. So this was the first report, and then there was another report, which was an opinion on that, produced by another set of consultants. And the point I make in this video is because of the missing data, because it's an opinion on top of another report, there are a lot of opportunities to manage the messaging put forth by the county in that report. And the messaging the county wants us to believe is that there's not a problem, so we don't have to do anything about it. Which in my opinion is kind of the county passing off responsibility and saying, our hands are washed, so we don't need to do anything. Talking to residents both in the mountain communities and the desert communities, there's plenty of both real and anecdotal evidence to suggest that STRs have had an impact on all kinds of aspects of life, whether it's the availability of affordable rental housing. So I do think we need to actually spend some time putting together a report with real conclusions. One thing I've talked about this entire campaign is, as a resident of a tourist economy myself, so I'm a local mountain resident. I live over in Sky Forest, just outside of Lake Arrowhead. We need STRs to support our tourist economy. We need tourists to come up and fill up our restaurants, support our businesses, keep the ski slopes open. So we do need them. But the thing I've been saying this entire time is I'm hugely in favor of keeping all the revenue generated by STRs and reinvesting it back in the local communities that have them. You'll know that we need plenty of resources here. Just driving down the 18 in Big Bear Boulevard, it's full of potholes. We need more money. We need more resources in our mountain communities. And I was mentioning it before, but you might not know the county right now is spending $3 million on another report to figure out if we should be keeping that STR revenue in our local communities. My firm view on this, don't spend the $3 million, invest that revenue back into our mountain communities, into our desert communities that have the STRs, and support our tourist economy here.
Okay. Yes, as you said, that the STRs have quite an impact on our mountain community up here. And I don't really think that where you live, you're kind of remote, sort of where you are. You're kind of near Arrowhead. But a problem we've been having is that we've been compared with other mountain communities. We've been compared to the desert with their problems with short-term rentals. They have reached out to communities like Palm Springs, And I believe that what has been forgotten is that our economy relies solely on tourism up here.
Yeah.
We don't have any other income. We don't have a private lake. We have a public lake. We just have, we rely on it. So let me ask you this, if you are successful in curtailing some of the short-term rentals, and the people who work either directly or indirectly for the short-term rentals, how are they going to afford the rent when some of these go away?
Well, I think saying curtailing is not necessarily the thing that I want to do. So
Okay.
I think you touched on a few points here. One that we all have to remember is that all of our communities, both in the mountains and the deserts, are very unique. And you make exactly the right point when you say what works for us in the Lake Arrowhead area doesn't work in Big Bear, doesn't work in the desert. And even the report the county put together acknowledges some differences in the various economies between these various areas. So the first thing that I'll always come back to when looking at issues like this is we need to talk to residents in these communities and find out what works for them. Because Big Bear is structurally different from Lake Arrowhead. You have even more tourists than we do. You have more STRs than we do, and you need them for your economy. So the first step for me is making sure we spend time in Big Bear, talk to Big Bear residents, talk to STR owners here, and find out what is actually going to work for residents in Big Bear. One thing I talk about a lot is we used to have a much wider network of municipal advisory committees across District 3, which our current board has seriously curtailed. A huge agenda item for me is expanding that network to make sure that we have real input from people across the district and we know what they want in their local communities. Because this all comes down to that. It's what do people actually want? What problems are they facing? What unique solutions can the county pull together that is actually going to make sense for these communities? Because, by the way, this district is 10,000 square miles big. It's huge. You can't have one policy for the whole district. It just doesn't work. So we need a Big Bear policy. We need a Lake Arrowhead policy. We need a desert policy. The one size fits all approach thing is not appropriate here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your candid answers, and I hope you do spend more time up here.
I live up the mountains, and I spend a lot of time in Big Bear, so it's already a thing.
All right, great. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Thank you.